Hey everybody, you got the RV Wingman here today with a very special video. In the next few minutes, I'll be speaking with a woman named Jenny Doman and her attorney, Beth Wells, about an experience it's nothing short of a nightmare. I want you to imagine this: buying a brand new RV, $100,000 plus brand new RV, excited to start out on your adventure, only to have it burst into flames less than 24 hours later. Well, that's exactly what happened to Jenny and her family, who barely escaped with their lives. Now, for nearly 3 years, Jenny has been fighting for justice, praying for justice, facing delay after delay as Heartland and Camping World have used every legal tactic in the book to avoid responsibility. Well, I believe that it's time. It is time to shine a light on this case and make sure that Jenny's story is heard. I want to invite you to watch this video and to leave a comment. Share it far and wide on social media. Let's make some noise, as they say, and show these companies that they can't keep playing games with people's lives. I hope you'll join me in demanding accountability, and let's bring about some much needed change in the RV industry. So Jenny, I got to say, I have been following you for years now. I wish that I have not, but I have been following you, and I know a lot of people have. If people are unfamiliar with your case, with your situation, in just a few minutes, can you give us the Reader's Digest version, if you will, of what in the world did you and your family go through?
Well, we went through a lot. It was probably the most traumatic thing I've ever been through, and I've had some other trauma happen after that, and I can still say this was it. So we bought a fifth wheel from Camping World right outside Spokane, Washington, and that was on December 18th. We spent the whole day there going through everything. We
Hey,
were
hang on. I'm
excited.
sorry to interrupt, but
Yes.
it's December 18th of 2021.
Yes, 2021. So that was 3 years ago.
Okay.
So, and I had just had a baby. I had a 6 week old. We had two puppies, our 16-year-old with us. We were so excited. We were going, planning on packing everything up though for the next 2 weeks. We were headed out to Utah to see his brother, who was very ill at the time. And so we were trying to like get this process going. We wanted to hurry up and get down there and not be an inconvenience with our puppies and two kids with the fifth wheel. And so we thought that'd be a much easier way. And we were excited to be able to travel and go to national parks and spend time with our kids, especially getting to start over with a new baby.
Mm-hmm.
And the next morning, the first night that we were there, I do vlog and I videotape. And so I was taping everything, and we were having issues with the heat in the trailer. And they had said when we were going through everything that, you need an extra box of fuses, that'll happen, things will blow. And so my husband went and got the extra box of fuses, and we were able to get things kind of working. And we were calling Camping World, and we were talking to them, telling them all the problems we were starting to have already. And they said, hey, no worries, come, bring it in 2 weeks whenever you get back home to your home place, and they'll look at it, but that's nothing you need to worry about. And so we started off the next morning on December 19th, 2021. We got on the road, and about 2 hours into the drive, we got a call that his brother had passed away.
Huh.
And I looked over at my husband like half hour later, and I didn't mean to scare him. And I said, I am so sorry. I don't mean to like terrify you, but I just know your brother's here with us and he's watching us. And I don't know why. And it just kind of got a little weirded out. And had a 6 week old baby, and we had to stop at a Walmart because I had a problem with the pump. And I was trying to convince my husband to spend the night in that Walmart parking lot, and he didn't want to. He said, let's just keep going, because he wanted to get down to his family. And we did. And it was about an hour later, we were driving, and we got a notification on our truck that something was wrong. And so there just happened to be an exit right there. And we pulled over, and my husband got outside the car, and then he noticed that the fifth wheel was on fire.
And this is nighttime, right?
This is night, and it was snowing, and it was right outside Dillon, Montana. I want to say like maybe 20 minutes outside Dillon. I don't even know. Like, it was right outside Dillon, Montana, though, because that's where we ended up that night. And the second he yelled it was on fire, I immediately got my phone, called 911, and started running to find an exit where we're at. And as I was coming back, there just happened to be a guy who had been checking on a neighbor, and my husband he was trying to put out the fire, and there was just no way to disconnect the truck. And I realized like it wasn't going to happen. So I'm grabbing my 6-week-old, the 2 puppies, and my 16-year-old, and just trying to get the diaper bag and the dog bag out of the car and the car seat as fast as I can, because I realize everything's going to go at this point. It is happening so fast. This is within a few minutes. Everything is just on fire and in flames. And
this is, I mean, this is not a small fire. This is a total engulfed RV, brand new RV.
Total engulfed RV. And it was just within a few minutes. I mean, the whole thing was on fire. And the truck, it took the truck with it too. There was no way to get the truck disconnected just because the electrical system was already gone. That was what was on fire when we looked inside. And the last picture my husband got, because his phone, he had it with him, was the brand new, the pump I just bought at Walmart, and these shoes that he had, and you could just see the electrical panel just like lit up in flames behind it. And that was somehow uploaded to his iCloud because he lost his phone in the fire. And the Good Samaritan Zach had to pull my husband from the fire, and he was sent to the hospital and intubated for smoke inhalation. And I had just been pumping, and everything that I just done was completely gone, lost. And so I'm sitting in a hotel room with a brand new baby, the puppies, and my 16-year-old. My husband's hospitalized, and I just remember like,
Jenny,
yes.
hang on just a moment. So I appreciate you telling the story, and I can tell that it's having a powerful impact on you emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Just to recount it, Beth Wells, you are the attorney here. And I'm not an attorney. Don't pretend to be one. But this, I don't know. Did we ever find out how the fire started? Do we know the cause of the fire? I mean, if it happened within whatever 24 hours after you rolled out of the Camping World parking lot, what's going on with that? What have they determined?
Unfortunately, at this point, we have not yet. The case has been pending for 1 year and 7 months, and we haven't even started discovery because we're not allowed to start discovery until certain things have happened. And finally, those things will happen this month. So,
but Beth, you said 1 year and 7 months. It's been going on almost 3 years. What? To me, again, not trying to play lawyer, but it seems to me that there's like a lot of questions. If and I can't be alone out there. The people that are going to watch this are going, "What the hell? This is 3 years, and this RV that's 24 hours old bursts into flames, and why is it taking so long? And where? And you explain that if you would, from where non-lawyers can understand it."
Right. So we filed the case back in March of 2023. So there's been a bunch of motions that have been filed by defendants to either dismiss claims or move the case. Initially, Heartland filed a motion to dismiss, seeking to dismiss some of the claims. We prevailed on that motion, and then Heartland filed another motion asking the court, even though they had a clause in their warranty that said that the Domans had to file suit in Indiana, they wanted to move the case to Montana. And then after that, shortly after, Camping World filed a motion to dismiss, saying that the Indiana court did not have personal jurisdiction and that they wanted to transfer the case to Washington because they had a clause on the backside of their sales agreement that said that lawsuits had to be filed in the state of Washington. So we finally got a decision within the last, I believe, 2 weeks, denying the motion to dismiss and the motions to transfer. So we have some filings that are due at the end of this month. The dealership will finally have to file its answer, I believe, next week. And that means that we can start commencing doing discovery, requesting documents, asking questions, asking them to admit different things.
Okay. Again, pardon me for maybe asking stupid questions, but why It's still almost 3 years. And if I were you, Jenny, what is this just something that you want to put behind you? I mean, is it every time you bring it up? I mean, your husband has a family member, and I know it's not connected directly, but a family member that dies. And then within 12 hours or some period of time shortly thereafter, you have a brand new RV, you spend $100,000 or whatever you spend on it, and it's totaled out, burned up on the side of the road. I would think that this would be very emotionally, I don't know, a big burden for you to carry.
It has been. It's been rough.
And Beth, why have they been so I don't know if it's Heartland or Camping World or both. It seems like they're playing the lawfare term, that we hear about. There's these games of moving things and trying to get it dismissed. And yes, no.
Well, I mean, they're all things that they have the right to file under the rules. Unfortunately, on our end, it's just delaying things for the Domans. The motions themselves, as you've heard, it's a year and 7 months that it's taken just to get through all of these. And unfortunately, the rules don't allow us to go to the next step until there's a decision on those motions.
So this is what I'm hearing. This is a good thing for your client, for Jenny and her family, because the judge finally said, we're tired of playing this point in the fingers. It's going to be, and where did you say it's going to be? In Indiana?
Right. It's going to stay in Indiana, where they filed it. So.
Do you feel good about that? I mean, is that a good place because that's where most of these manufacturers are located, or you probably just feel good that you got a decision?
We're happy that we can move along with the case. We already prevailed on the motion on the merits relating to the question on whether they were allowed to whether they had to give Heartland an opportunity to repair the defect that caused the vehicle to be engulfed in flames. I
read something about that.
On that. So
for people that don't know about that thing, I guess it's in the warranty or whatever. Explain to you just very briefly about one of the roadblocks, if you will, that Heartland put up in this claim. That just to me, I heard it, I just shook my head about.
Can I answer this one?
Go ahead. I don't care.
So I believe from what I read in one of the judge's opinions was that Heartland said that we were supposed to bring the RV to them at least 3 times to let them repair it. And we didn't bring it to them at least 3 times to repair it. And I want to say the judge said something along the lines of, what were they supposed to bring you, a pile of ashes? There was nothing to bring to repair. That's kind of ridiculous. That's the way I read it when I kind of read the opinion, but I'll let Beth give the legal version of that.
Yeah, that's exactly what the judge said. There's a rule on cases in Indiana, a certain number of repair opportunities and a certain number of days, alternatively, that a vehicle has to be out of service for there to be a breach of warranty claim. But the Seventh Circuit has said that there are certain instances where those rules don't have to be followed. And this judge said a situation where there's a defect that causes the vehicle to be engulfed in flames is an example of one of those situations.
So if I'm understanding correctly, the manufacturer, Heartland, or somebody representing Heartland, was hoping that a judge would say, Doman family, you guys didn't bring it back 3 times, so there's no claim here. Is that what they were trying to do?
Correct.
No wonder so many of these manufacturers have got a bad reputation. What is the benefit, Beth, from the benefit to Heartland and to the parent company of dragging this thing out? It would seem to me that they would want to put it behind them, make it, write a check and just make it go away.
Honestly, I'm not sure what their logic is. I know some people might give up along the way, so, but that's only an assumption. I'm not really sure otherwise what kind of logic would result in that, but
it would seem to me that the tactics that the other side, the manufacturer, is using to delay and move and all that kind of stuff would not be viewed very favorably. If I were on a jury, when you get this before a jury, I'm going to go, the damn families, they burned down. I mean, completely down within 24 hours. And look what you guys have been putting them through. I mean, it can't be viewed favorably what they're doing, or can a jury not even know all the shenanigans that have been pulled?
There's a process where the parties will file motions in limine before a trial. And so we might have things that we want to exclude from the jury from hearing. They might have some things as well. And so that might be an opportunity where they could try to get something like that out. If something is relevant, but it's unfairly prejudicial, then sometimes you can get that kind of thing out from jury consideration. So.
Jenny, how did you feel when you found out that the judge had finally made their decision on it's got to be in Indiana?
I was very happy. I was headed to a Down syndrome conference and my youngest, that's why I said, like, this was the most traumatic thing I've dealt with. And I had a 26-week-old baby born after this had happened. I was in the hospital for a year with her, and now I get to advocate for Down syndrome as well. And I'm grateful for that. And it makes me sad to see a company drag something out like this when they could do the right thing. There was an article that the Indianapolis Star, they wrote, and it talked about the workers and some of the conditions that they had been in. And I wish that this company would just do the right thing and put procedures in place so this doesn't happen to anyone else, and make sure that their products are safe when they go out the door rather than rushing them out the door, was what seemed to be going on at that time.
What do you think, Beth, in terms of the RV industry and the manufacturers? What should they do? I mean, what are you suing for? You're quote unquote suing for, I don't know, what's the reason you're suing them?
Yeah, we've sued for breach of warranty and products liability and some other claims. But they just really want, to be put in a spot where the fire hasn't cost them a bunch of money. And at this point it has.
Has it been pretty bad, Jenny? Has it put y'all financially, without getting too much into detail, it couldn't be a good thing?
No, I watched a lot go up in flames when we were at the even at Camping World. We were able to purchase an insurance policy on it, but it didn't cover anywhere near it only covered over $3,000 of products inside, and we had installed a washer and dryer that we had just purchased at Camping World, and it basically covered that. But I also had completely stocked with like 2 weeks worth of clothes, food, diapers, wipes, all my breast pump, pumping supplies, my keepsakes. My husband had a blanket in there that was a t-shirt quilt from college, and I kept looking like, why would you bring something like that? Like, because now it's gone and you can't get that back. There was a couple things that had been made for my son was 6 weeks old, and those went up in flames. There's just things that we can't replace that were in there. That it's the things that I can't replace that are harder, because you can't monetize that. Like, you can't go back and get those things. And and we never even got any of the we had problems with the insurance policy, and we never even got any of those products covered. So we just watched keepsakes, our computers, our laptops, or our laptops, our iPads, our everything just go up.
And plus your
go up in
brand new
flames.
side by side, your expensive brand new side by side, everything you had is in there.
Everything my husband had saved up for,
it seems like
this
to
had been
me
his dream.
that everybody is like, not us,
Mhm.
and they use every single roadblock, hurdle, every single way they can to avoid any level of responsibility. When I believe, I want to think that if I were in charge at Heartland, I would have said, holy crap, this is a bad deal. It's going to get worse if we don't take care of it, and we're going to take care of it. And so I would think, Jenny, you seem to be the kind of person that's not litigious. You were hoping somebody would just kind of do what's the right thing. And it's a shame, Beth, I'm not trying to say anything bad, but it's a shame that people have to go to a lawyer to get something fixed that should have been fixed in the first place.
So Camping World did reach out after the fire, and they kept asking what they could do to make it right. And I didn't know. I was in shock at the time. I didn't have an answer. And then I believe Heartland might have reached out too because of social media, and they kept asking what they could do, and I didn't know. I didn't have an answer for them because they didn't know what was going on, and that's when I got Beth, and that's when they didn't make it right. They were offering to make it right and didn't do it, which
Beth,
really
it
hurts.
seems to me, again, it seems to me that there comes a point when an individual, they're in over their head. And Jenny, you guys were just in this strange place in your life, and to not have a lawyer would be a huge mistake because they have all the cards, they have all the power, and they'll be very, very nice. And not trying to sound, too skeptical, Beth, but that's the reason you exist, is to protect people from this kind of thing happening.
Right. And a lot, you probably know this, a lot of the manufacturer warranties have limitations on when you have, when your right to sue expires. So a lot of times people, they might not even know that the right to sue is come and gone. So it's really important to take a look at your warranty and know what restrictions the warranty has, because there's going to be at least some.
So Jenny, you had to, if you wouldn't have engaged in this thing and just hope that Heartland was going to do the right thing, who knows what would have happened. You had to engage before the clock ran out, so to speak, on your warranty, whatever that warranty
And we were
said.
pretty close to it. It was only because of the journalist in the India. Oh, I'm sorry. My dog just
Right.
It was only because of the journalist from the Indianapolis Star, and she did that interview with me, is where I even discovered that I had an option to get an attorney, because I saw that Ron Burge had made a comment in that article as well, and that is how I didn't know I had that option. I didn't know what I could do. I didn't know, and so I'm grateful that I had someone help me. And I hope that me doing this can help others know that you do have options. You can take action. You don't have to sit back and be taken advantage of.
Beth, you seem like you're very cool, calm, and collected, but a part of you, I'm just saying, a part of you has got to be going, let me at him. Let me get this discovery going. Yes, I mean, this seems to me to be so friggin' cut and dried. Look at the flames. I mean, the video that you took. I know I shouldn't be smiling and like this, but if you wouldn't have taken the video, think about it. It's just a fire, but you see the flames and you hear you guys crying and just the chaos. And I think the discovery is going to be a fun thing to do, Beth.
Well, and even though these motions have delayed things for them significantly, both of them, I think, have really helped the law in the consumer's favor and will help other consumers in the future get what they need. So I think at least they have that to be happy about so far.
Yeah, I hope my
how
case
long
can help
this is going
others.
to be until you get to get to a resolution?
We don't even have our case scheduling filed yet. So this is just freshly filed decision. So we should know more deadlines by the end of October.
You must be anticipating more, not our fault. They should have done this. You're guilty until proven innocent. I mean, if they played this kick the can down the road game like it seems that they have, that it's not going to stop now. Okay, we'll go ahead and play by the rules. They're going to continue to try to delay and to accept as little responsibility as possible. And I know there's probably only so much you can say.
Well, and then you never know. Maybe these decisions will make them second guess their position. I guess we'll probably see either way within the next couple months.
Well, Jenny, are you feeling some relief? I mean,
start after I got that decision, it was very nice to know it's going to be in Indiana, and it's not, they're trying to separate it in all these in different states and just make it difficult. And it's nice to know that it's going to be where we originally agreed it will be. And I have help in that state because I have a daughter who has a heart condition, and one of my best friends I grew up with lives there, and so near this, and so she can help me out when we're there with our kids if it does mean us going all the way to Indiana and having to do this in person, which I hope it doesn't come to that.
How's your husband feel about all this?
He doesn't like to talk about it, really.
I heard he had to go to the hospital when the fire was going on, and it was touch and go for a while for what he inhaling all the fumes.
He did, and so he was intubated, and I think that he doesn't like to talk about it because his brother was intubated and passed away, and so that was, I think, a little much for him, having just found out about that and then being in the hospital. And that was rough. And in the chaos of all this is like the one comedic thing that I can say of the whole situation that happened was I had been pumping. That's the whole reason we stopped in Walmart, is because my breast pump failed. And I had just finished and not finished. When he said that, I disconnected everything. And so I'm running around the entire time just to show you how panicked and the chaos. And I wasn't even thinking or looking. I was just in the moment reacting. And I'd been around in the guy Zach's car in the back seat. And it wasn't until I was in the back of a police car that I looked down. And the whole time, like, it's funny but not funny. I'd been exposed. Like, I had those flanges like out, and no one said a word. No one said anything to me. But that just shows like how quick and the chaos, and just to be like 15 minutes later to look down and just be like, oh my gosh. That was.
You said that when you got word that your brother-in-law passed away, that your husband's brother died, just before the fire, that there was something that came over you. Tell me about that.
As soon as we heard he passed away, it was about 2:30, and we were driving. I believe we were still in Idaho. I'm not sure where we're at, but we were. And it was about the second he told me that, we got the call. It was 5 minutes later. I just felt this overwhelming feeling like he was there with us, and I didn't know how to say it to my husband without making him upset or cry, because it was his oldest brother.
This was COVID. I mean,
he had passed away of COVID. Yes.
Yeah.
So, and he had been in the hospital, and they'd been letting family members go in and say goodbye. And so that was our goal, was to hurry up and get down there so he could say goodbye to him. And I just looked over at him about 30 minutes later, after I just kept having this feeling. And I'm like, I don't mean to upset you, but I just need to let you know that your brother's here with us. And I don't know why. And I don't mean to scare you. And I don't mean to make you nervous. I'm not saying anything bad is going to happen. But I think he's here protecting us and watching over us. Wow. And I didn't know, like, he really was, probably. Because the guy Zach, who just happened to stop by as soon as all this happened, the only reason he was out that night is because he said he felt the need to go check on a neighbor. And this was middle of nowhere, and he lived on one end, and he was coming across under the freeway. And just as soon as we pulled over, he saw those flames coming out, wow. And he was there within a minute of all this happening. Just happened to be there, and the neighbor wasn't even home. So he said if he hadn't had that prompting to go do that, then he wouldn't have been there to help my husband and to help us. And I don't know. I think we'd be having a very different conversation if that guy Zach hadn't shown up.
Wow. I appreciate so much, Jenny, spending some time with me to kind of update me. And I hate to, go back and revisit something so painful, but it frustrates me. It makes me angry to think of what these manufacturers can do. It's not just the RV industry. It's corporate America. Beth, what would you like for the RV industry people to hear? What do you, if you could say one thing to them and go, hey guys, this is what I wish you would do. I think you'd have more customers, you'd have less problems. What advice would you give the RV industry?
I think one key thing is just make your warranties fair. Don't create all these loops and things that the consumer has to jump through, or ways to get out of living up to the promise that you made to them when they purchased your vehicle. So I think that would be a great starting point.
And what bit of advice would you give to somebody that's going to buy an RV, or maybe has an RV and has had, maybe hopefully not something like you've had, Jenny, but a problem and delays in the time? What would you say to me if I was an RV buyer? What do I need to know warranty wise?
I would say make sure you read your warranty, and make sure that when you have issues, contact the manufacturer directly and keep the lines of communication open, so that if things don't go right, not only have you gone to the dealership, but you've also reached out directly to the manufacturer.
But isn't it true that there are certain ways that you have to contact the manufacturer? Don't just call them and say, well, I talked to Pete on whatever day it was. We're going to wrap this thing up, but essentially read your warranty, understand what it means, and what are some of the sneaky things that people might want to pay particular attention to right now? Yeah,
just based on the warranty, there's going to be different things that you have to do. There might be a requirement that you send something in writing with a certain set of information to the manufacturer. You might have to give them a final repair opportunity if they request. There's just a bunch of different things. Different manufacturers do it differently. And so the most important thing is making sure that you read that warning, know what those things are, and make sure that you do it before your time runs up, and reach out for help before your time runs up.
Yeah. We did try to reach out to Camping World. I mean, before this all happened, the night the fuses were blowing, we had 2 numbers from 2 different people at Camping World, and we were trying to call them. We left messages, and they called us back after, because we had just gotten on the road so we could hurry up and get to his brother. They called us back and said, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. The fuse is blowing. That happens all the time. Just take it back to your local place in 2 weeks. And so we didn't think any of that would be a big deal.
Are you going after Heartland and Camping World, Beth, or what?
Yes, yeah, they're both defendants in the case.
They are. Well, I hope you'll keep us posted, and I appreciate the update, and I wish you the best, Jenny.
Thank you very much, Alan. I appreciate it.
Jenny's story is a stark reminder of what can happen when companies refuse to do the right thing. Now it's up to us to make sure her fight for justice is seen and heard. If you believe that Heartland and Camping World need to take responsibility, I respectfully ask you to help me make some noise. Leave a comment, share this video, help spread the word across social media. Together, I believe we can amplify Jenny's voice and show these companies that people really are watching. You know what? We aren't going to back down until they do what's right. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this. Let's get the message out there far and wide. Until next time, I'm Alan Warren, the RV Wingman, reminding you to be safe, have fun, play nice, and don't leave your good manners at home.